absolutely no moral victories in our sport, but I was proud of our guys' effort. I thought they battled for 4 quarters. I mean, we knew it was going to be a 4-quarter fist fight, and I thought our defense was outstanding, and unfortunately, just too many mistakes offensively to overcome it. And you know, I've said this many times: you hold good football teams to 10 points, you should win the football game, in my opinion. But obviously, didn't do enough offensively, and you know, we got a short week. Can't feel sorry for ourselves. We got to figure it out and come back and be better.
Matt, what did you want to do offensively going into this game? Where did you think you could?
Well, we wanted to try to establish the run game and try to build off of that. I thought there was some moments where we did a decent job, but ultimately it wasn't enough. You know, it seemed to me that when we got in some of those critical moments, it wasn't necessarily the first and second down. It was more the money down, like third down, fourth down, where we just malfunctioned.
Are you fine with Jordan trying to throw the ball away there on the fumble so he doesn't take the sack to push you out of field goal range?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I got to go back and see it. However, the guy's battling, so it's not for a lack of effort. Obviously, you'd rather take a sack than fumble the ball, but I know he's trying to get rid of the football and do everything in his power, and it is what it is.
Matt, on the second last series, after Love hit Musgrave for 9 yards, you had 4th and 1. Did you consider calling a timeout there?
We did, but we also were trying to preserve as much time as possible. I mean, shoot, we had a chance at the end of the game right there. You know, took a shot. Unfortunately, came up. It was incomplete to Christian down the field. But yeah, that definitely crossed my mind. I just thought 4th and a half a yard or whatever it was, 4th and a yard. You know, you got to be able to convert in those situations. We'd done it earlier in the game and just didn't get it done, and that's extremely disappointing.
What's in the big picture? What's gone wrong offensively? I mean, you guys scored a lot of points in a lot of games to start the season. The last 2 games.
Yeah, it's been very, very choppy, I would say, as of late.
So it's mid-season. I'm sure you would like your guys to be ascending too. Why has it gone the wrong direction?
That's a great question, Bill. I don't think I'd be answering the question if I had the answers for it. I think when you look at it, like I mentioned, just a lot of those situational ball, we just weren't clean and had, whether it was penalties, there was a drop there on a 4th down. You know, I'll always look at myself first and foremost. Are we putting the guys in the right plays? Do we have opportunities to throw completions? I don't think it was. They played soft zone the majority of the game. I would say in the second half they started to man us up a little bit more, and they're just kind of waiting for you to mess up. And unfortunately, we messed up way too many times.
You played Melton quite a bit. Has Heath not been practicing well, or what did you like about having Melton out there ahead of him most of the night?
No, it wasn't necessarily that at all. It was just, you know, just how are you going to use your receivers in certain situations? You know, Bo is a guy that we've used to take the top off quite a bit. And it just, you know, I would say there was a lot of guys kind of in and out of the lineup. I mean, obviously we've been had a few injuries at that position, and it was kind of a free-for-all. I would say the majority of that second half of who was in, who was out. We're running some deeper development stuff to try to open up, you know, that mid-range passing game where we thought we could take advantage of. And it was somewhat successful at times, but yeah, I would just say it's a byproduct of just guys, you know, Rome goes down, and you just have different guys running in and out of the lineup, and just how you're using those guys.
What happened to Dobbs?
I be honest with you, Rob, I don't have a ton of information right now. I just know that he was ruled out, you know, and they said he was not going to be coming back.
Matt, it's obvious when Tucker Kraft goes down, he's a focal point of the offense.
Sure.
You just talked about the intermediate game. He's a big part of that. You play a lot of 2 tight end sets tonight, not nearly as much for obvious reasons. How do you, does a play caller have to adjust? Not only that he's not there and the production he brings, but also just going to different personnel packages and how that affects the way.
Yeah, I think that's something that obviously we're struggling with finding the right solutions right now. So we got to take a long, hard look at that and come up with a better plan. Bottom line, you score 7 points in this league, you're probably not going to win many games. So that's give them a lot of credit. I thought they did an outstanding job. That's a good defense. They got really good players over there. I think Vic Fangio, you guys know how I feel about him. But ultimately, we have to do a much better job, and it always starts with myself.
I understand you guys are 5-3-1, still have a
Sure.
playoff spot right now, and you're going to say you're always coaching for your job, but you don't have a long-term extension. With the way things have gone this season, do you think you're coaching for your job?
I'm not. I'll leave that for everybody else to decide. I'll just focus on the day-to-day and trying to do. I feel like you're always coaching for everything in this league. You know, that's just my mindset. It's always been that way. You know, you can't ever exhale. You got to always be pushing, and that's just my mindset. So, and that will be my mindset until they tell me not to coach anymore.
Matt, how much does Bo get work on offense versus defense in practice? And did you and Goody talk about elevating Shepard or Nayor?
Yeah, that was certainly all that was in part of the discussion. But you know, this week we thought it was best for us. I mean, Bo hasn't played a ton on defense. We thought we could use, you know, the speed element that he possesses to help open some things up offensively.
I'm just wondering because, you know, I think you could say you have the drop and then he aligns and gets that penalty. Looked like he kind of found his footing after that, but is that tough to put a guy?
Yeah, absolutely. That's not easy. I commend his effort, man. That guy he's 100% wired the right way. I'm not at all disappointed with his play. You know, it's not an easy thing to do what he was asked to do. So we certainly appreciate just what he does for this football team. He is a team first guy that brings great energy every day. I love Bo Milton.
And I understand teams are playing you soft the way they are. Your quarterback's played a lot of good football over the years. You're paying him a lot of money. How do you find a way to still get the ball in his hands and make the kind of plays even though teams are playing you that way? Can you?
Yeah, I mean, I think we gotta. There's a lot that goes into that in regards to, you know, how we hit certain concepts down the field and how we're getting guys in the right spots, as well as, you know, being able to protect. I do think one thing that could help us immensely is we've got to get back in. If the running game, not that it was, I thought it was solid tonight. It was effective. But the more you can keep teams off balance, if you're really humming, that alleviates a lot of stress on your offense, and that's an area that, I mean, every area we got to be a lot better in.
You mentioned the run game. Josh Jacobs last year had a huge year, and this year he's had some good games. He's had some games that the running game hasn't gotten probably the way you want it to go.
Yeah, there's just specific moments, like, you know, you get a first down and then you hand the ball off and you get hit in the backfield. That's not on Josh Jacobs. You lose 4 yards right there. You're in 2nd and 14. Now you're get back on track situations. So I just think the consistency at which we do things, we just can't have some of these plays where you're losing. You might as well throw the ball and get sacked. I mean, if you know, it's just the reality of it.
You guys obviously started the season with some really high hopes, especially after getting Micah. How's the locker room? Can you keep them together? And is there any?
Yeah, I'm not worried about that. We've got the right guys in the locker room. I'm absolutely not at all concerned about that. We just have to find a way to win a football game, and we got to start by playing really good complementary football, which unfortunately we haven't done. And I feel like we've wasted a few performances. Really, you know, championship level defensive performances, and haven't been able to score enough points.
Why the field goal opportunity at the end over the maybe a Hail Mary?
Well, great question. That was basically the information I got was that he was close when he took the swing at the 64-yarder, and I mean, I don't know what the percentages would equate to, but you know, Hail Mary's not by any stretch a gimme, so trust me, it definitely crossed my mind. But I think we had a little bit more confidence with how close the first kick was, so you take a shot.